Hello everyone, this video is sponsored by Mario. I am led by Dries. As a student of health data science, you are entering a field where data is rarely perfect. In the classroom, datasets are clean. In the hospital, they are messy, biased, and often too small. Today, we are going to learn how AI actually learns. Okay, we are not just memorizing code; we are building robust AI system that do not break when the environment changes. Our goal is to translate abstract machine learning process into practical strategies that you can use to build reliable medical tools. To build better AI, we must first understand why it usually fails. We face four major problems. The first hurdle is lack of pre-existing knowledge. If you start from zero, the model has no common sense about the world, what's going on. Okay. The second problem is environmental changes. A model might work in one hospital but fail in another because the patient's population or the machines are different. The third major hurdle is uneven exposure. This is when the model sees thousands of healthy cases but almost no example of the rare diseases you are trying to catch. And the last and the fourth major hurdle is need for creative practice. If which means if you have 100 images, the model will just memorize them. It needs variety to truly learn them. To succeed, we must use specialized strategies to help our model adopt. Our first strategy is transfer learning. Okay, imagine a biology expert who decides to study machine medicine. They do not need to relearn what a cell is, they already have that knowledge. Okay, they just need to learn how those cells relate to a specific disease. And in AI, we use a pre-trained brain. Starting from a blank slate with random setting takes too much time and money. Okay, to avoid this, we take a model that already knows how to see shapes and patterns and give it a massive head start on our medical task. In simple words, we can say we take any pre-trained model that is trained on general knowledge. Okay, but we have to train on a specific task, for example medicine. That would be much easier. Now the question is, how do we customize this brain? We use a process of freezing and retraining. The frozen layers mean these are the feature extractors. We freeze the early parts of the model because they are already experts at seeing edges, shapes, and textures. These are the neurons. Okay, we have to. These are the layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. We have to freeze some early layers of the model, and that is the frozen layers. Okay, the retrained head. This is the classifier. We only retrain the very final layers. This is where the model, this one, we have only retrained the final layer to recognize your highly specific categories. For example, telling the difference between a benign and cyst and malignant tumor. This saves huge amount of computer power. Okay, now let's talk about a major problem. That is the distribution shift. Imagine you train a self-driving car on a sunny road. That is the source domain. Then you move it to a snowy road. That is the target domain. The car is now a fish out of water. Okay, it gets confused by the whole ground, by the white snow and a glare, even though the task of driving has not changed. And in health data, this happens when a model trained on patients in Europe is used on patients in Asia. The distribution of the data has fundamentally shifted. Okay, so the model would not, our machine learning model would not handle this type of shift. It would not perform well. So the question is, how do we help the car or the medical model adopt? Like how they adopt it. We use domain adoption. Okay, for this, instead of collecting and labeling hundreds of thousands of new photos for every new environment, we use mathematical feature alignment. Okay, we teach the model to find the shared road in understanding the thing that stay the same whether it's sunny or snowy. The goal is to minimize the difference between the training lab and the real world clinic so the model stays accurate everywhere. In medicine, we often look for needles in haystacks. Imagine a credit card fraud system. 99.9% of transactions are legitimate, the majority cases, and only 0.1% are the fraud. That is the minority class. If a model simply guesses no fraud every single time, it gets 99.9% accuracy. On paper, it looks like success, okay, but in reality, it is complete failure. It is totally blind to the actual fraud it was built to catch. In healthcare model that misses 1% of patients with cancer is dangerous model, no matter how accurate it is, okay, how much accuracy they give on code or paper. To fix this imbalance, we have four main tools. First is oversampling, second is SMOTE, okay, next is undersampling, and the fourth and last one is cost learning. These are we discussed here, okay. And oversampling is like we duplicate the rare examples. It's like leave your hardest flashcards twice as often. And the SMOTE, it's like we create synthetic data. We write our own practice questions based on the few examples we have to create realistic new data, okay. And the undersampling is we remove some of the easy common examples so the model has to focus more on the rare ones. And the cost sensitive learning, we increase the penalty for errors. If the model misses a rare cases, we punish it 10 times harder in math, okay. When we have small data sets, we have to get creative. We want to teach the model invariance. This means the model understands that a cat is still a cat whether it's upside down, blurry, or in the dark mode. If we do not have enough variety in our data, the model might just memorize specific pixels. Augmentation forces the model to ignore the noise and focus on the core characteristics of the disease. Basically, these are the augmentation example, okay. We have one picture of cat. We have to augment like what, how, like upside down picture, change its pixel value or blur it, so we have more data to train the model. So how do we fake new data? For images, as we see in last slide, we can rotate, flip, zoom, or change the brightness. This prepares the model for noisy real world where an X-ray might be slightly tilted or too dark. And for text, we can swap words for synonyms like changing happy to joyful, and we can also use back translation. We translate a sentence from English to French and then back to English. This gives us a French and fresh way to say the exact same thing, helping the model learn the meaning rather than just the words. To finish today's lecture, let's look at your toolkit. The first is transfer learning. Here we summarize it. Transfer learning is we use this when you lack data or computer power, okay. Like we have to use pre-trained model as a starting point and then just retrain the last layer of the neuron. And the second one is domain adoption. We use this to align features when your training data does not match the real world. And then the next concept we study is class imbalance. We use this to adjust the data mix when one category dominates in the dataset. And the last is the data augmentation. We use this to create synthetic variations for small datasets. By combining these tools, you move beyond simple code and you can build robust AI capable of handling the complexities of healthcare in the real world. Thank you so much. Hope you understand this lecture.